Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to UltimateE, the All-Star Virtual League weekend. An exciting weekend lined up for you guys here this weekend. And this same weekend, the Le Mans is happening. We've got our own little version of an endurance race featuring the V8 supercar Holden VF Commodore. We're going to be racing two spectacular tracks, and I'm joined by Aditya Patel, as always, the co-founder of the X1 League. Aditya, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. It's great to be back in the commentary box, Sanjan, and I'm really looking forward to this race because, again, it's like you said, it's the Le Mans weekend. We've got our own little mini endurance here, but in America, the world famous Laguna Seca. So, really looking forward to it, and we've got some good drivers here and an interesting mix and match of teams as well. And now we're in the qualifying session. So, maybe Anjan, you can run us through what this race format's going to be like.
So we've got an exciting weekend. Like I said earlier, we've got one race today. It's going to be a 45-minute race. So we're running an endurance format. We're here at the famous WeatherTech Laguna Seca raceway. This is one of the most iconic circuits on the on any calendar for anyone to race at. It's a 3.6 kilometer circuit with 11 turns, including the legendary corkscrew, and it's got a 55-meter elevation change to the circuit. It's hosted the Formula 1, MotoGP, World Superbike, and IndyCar, to name a few of the famous races that have gone down here. And the corkscrew, Aditya, what a challenging little corner that is with an 18-meter elevation drop. These guys are dropping 60 feet as they go through that little corkscrew.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're going uphill as you're entering the corkscrew, and you really can't see it. You've got to brake before you see it. So it's really hard to get your braking point right, and then the next thing you know, the corner's there right in front of you, and it drops 3 stories. So it's a huge drop, very challenging, and we're watching on the screen now. You're watching Ronnie Wexelberger now approaching the corkscrew. So you see he's going uphill, and then he comes through this little bit of an SS, and now he sees the corkscrew and he drops downhill. It's an insane corner. We see guys in MotoGP do it as well. A lot of talent required there. A lot of the new guys actually say it's really, really tough, and the experienced guys quite like it, but I guess it takes time to get used to a corner like that. And that's what's really great about circuits like Laguna Seca. It's one of those historic tracks that literally throws everything at you.
And this is exactly like you said, and these cars that we're racing today, the V8 supercar Holden VF Commodore, it does not get any trickier because these cars are not easy to drive on this track. We've got some world-class talent with us as well today, driving these cars around. And just to take you through the format of what we're going to be doing, we're going to have 2 races over 2 days in an endurance style format. So today we're at Laguna Seca, and tomorrow we're going to be at Summit Point Raceway. We will be racing these V8 supercars. We're going to be in the Americas over the weekend. We're going to have each team has 2 drivers. We're going to have a 10-minute qualifying session, and what I think this is where the UltimateE is thrown in a twist, because like they did with the X1 League, which they pioneered, the world's first motorsport league. It is brilliant to watch people in between races and single-seater race cars. Here we're going to do this today on the virtual world, where teams of 2, so you will see we have 12 teams on the grid. You'll see each of them driving today. Each driver will be driving today. So in between the race, between the 19th and 24th minute, the pit window will open and the drivers will swap. So one driver will stop and the other driver will take over from there and continue racing. For anyone driving alone, he will spend an extra 20 seconds in the pit to compromise on time. Otherwise, he'll get a lot quicker. We're going to have a 10-minute qualifying session, like Aditya said. We're 5 minutes into this qualifying session, followed by a 45-minute race with a rolling start. We're going to have drive weather, the safety car is on, damage is off, ABS traction control are on. And at the moment, I'm going to take you through the teams that we have. The 12 teams racing with us today, and then bring Aditya in to take us through a couple of these drivers. So we have team number 1, we have Mahavir Raghunathan and Karthik Tarni. Team number 2, we have Arjun Maini and Tejasvi Shetty. We have Sohil Shah and Lee Keshav in team number 3. Sai Sanjay and Dushyant in team number 4. Amit Kuti and Avinash Gupta in team number 5. Mohammad Ibrahim and Oshan Kotadia in team number 6. Vishnu Prasad and Najib Ahmed in team number 7. Ahan Ali Mostrin, Ankush Yaturi in team number 8. Mohan Shankar and Advit Yodar in team number 9. Sebastian Gronet and Ronnie Westerberger in team number 10. Harry Dalton and Chetan Surnini number 12. That is a lot of characters out there to keep us entertained for these 45 minutes.
Yeah, we've got 24 drivers, so that's a lot of drivers to have on one grid. Obviously, we've got 2 drivers sharing each car, so we've got 12 cars on the grid. It's going to be some interesting racing, because if you look at the grid and you look at the names, the way the drivers are mixed and matched, T. Shetty on top is Arjun Maini's teammate, so that's a very, very fast. That's Tejasvi Shetty, who's fairly new to this competition here with us, and we're meeting him for the first time. Ronnie Wexelberger is he's paired with his good friend Sebastian Grunert, and he's also really close up there. Vishnu Prasad in third. We know Vishnu can be really quick. He's Najib's teammate, Najib Ahmed, followed by Shahan Ali and Ankush Yaturi. Dushyant is with Sai Sanjay. So it's an interesting strategy now you see with Dushyant and Sai Sanjay, because between the two of them, they know that Sai is the quicker driver. But what they've done there is to send Dushyant out first, and then Sai goes in next. And it's also the same with Tejasvi and Arjun. So some interesting strategies we see going on here. And Oshan with Mohammad Ibrahim, we know Mohammad Ibrahim can be really, really quick in this game, and sometimes it's really hard to catch him. So again, Oshan starting in qualifying, Mohammad then going after him. But what's interesting is that if these guys do this today, it's going to be the other way around tomorrow, because it is mandatory for at least one of the drivers to, again, do at least one qualifying session between the two races. So anybody doing a qualifying session today, they can't do a qualifying session tomorrow. So those are the rules of the game. And we've got a special guest joining us as well, Mahavir Raghunathan, who's also an F2 driver, did F2 last year. He's paired with Karthik Tarani, again, very experienced sim racer and racing driver. So it's some interesting teams. Sohil Shah with Lee Keshav, Rohan Shankar with Advait. They're actually going to be a very strong team, if you ask me. And Chetan Surineni with Harry Dalton. So it's a very interesting mix of drivers. You really can't say right now who's going to win, who's going to struggle. So I'm really curious to see what happens in these races. It's the first time we're doing a format like this, and these cars are very tricky to drive. We saw yesterday that the guys are finding it to be a handful. Really easy to lose in here, really easy to get the tire temperatures up, and they also have to make a stop where they refuel. So there's going to be a lot going on in this race. So I'm sure, Arjun, you and I are going to be quite busy keeping our eyes peeled for all the action going on.
Like Aditya said, we are going to be busy because strategy does play a key here. And with everyone out on track, with about 2.5 minutes left in qualifying, we now see Ronnie now take the top spot with Tejasvi Shetty now in the second. Rohan Shankar, who's made it up in the third place. So it's still rather close now with the top four. And Vishnu Prasad, like Aditya mentioned, a very, very strong driver. We've seen him race with us over the last couple of weekends, and we've seen how strong he is. Because we've been doing GT and R Factor over the last couple of weekends. We're now going to be doing iRacing and Formula 1. Formula 1, of course, tomorrow, and iRacing today and tomorrow. So we've got some super exciting racing coming up. And of course, it's all courtesy of the boys at UltimateE who bring you this, who bring you racing weekend in, week out, pretty much every weekend, just to keep you guys entertained so you can stay home and stay safe. But coming back into qualifying now, at 1.5 minutes with 140 to go, Ronnie seems to be setting the pace because his teammate now and good friend Sebastian Grunert, we know how quick he's out a couple of times with us, and this team can actually take to the rest of the guys, because we did have a couple of mock races and practice sessions so everyone could get used to this new format we're running, and there we saw a mix because it was never one same guy on the top all the time. It kept changing so often.
Yeah, it changed a lot, and that's what's really exciting, and that's why I'm super excited to see what happens in the races, because again, if you look at all these drivers here, you've got to remember who their teammates are as well. Ronnie's got Sebastian, who's really quick. Tejasvi, who's in second place, is Arjun Maini's teammate, and Arjun's also really, really quick. Rohan is Advait's teammate. Advait is quick. Mahavir and Karthik are teammates. So it's going to bring a great second stint together, because these guys are going to be battling really hard in the first stint, and then in the second stint, guys from Sai Sanjay, who's paired with Shahan Ali. No, sorry, Sai Sanjay and Dushyant are teammates. Oshan and Mohammad are teammates. So Mohammad's going to have to fight a little bit because Oshan is doing quali first. So it's going to be interesting in the second stint. Let's hope it's clean in the beginning so we don't see any safety cars. And that's it's all about strategy now. Like you said, it's a mini Le Mans that we're doing here, but it's at Laguna Seca. And the strategy matters a lot right now, and it's about keeping your nose clean, not making any mistakes. We saw in the mock races earlier when we had guys put together just to see how this format works. We saw people making lots of mistakes, and I think they've gotten used to this car, but you never know till the heat is on.
Yeah, because we've seen this car being there. We go and straight off, as you just said it, because these cars are very tricky. They're very understeered, oversteered in certain corners, because everyone's got the baseline set up. So everyone's pretty much racing the same cars, except for brake balance is pretty much the only thing they can change. So that's going to play a lot. It's going to now come down to completely driver talent. And that's what's going to be exciting to see, because qualifying now is just completed, Aditya, and we're going to go straight into the race. And it's going to be a 45-minute race. I'm just waiting for the timing screens to come up so we know who's on pole. But I think just as we finished qualifying, we did see Ronnie up on top, so hopefully he's still there. If no one else has taken that pole position away from him. So there we go. Here we go for our first ever UltimateE All-Stars Virtual League Endurance Race. We have Ronnie Weschenberger on pole position, followed by Tejasvi Shetty in third. Second place, Rohan Shankar in third, Mahavir Raghunathan in fourth place. We can see him doing some. We can see him bring it up from there as well. Vishnu Prasad in fifth, Oshan Kotadia in sixth, Shahan Ali Motion in seventh, Avinash Gupta in eighth. And these top eight right now, these every one of these guys are super quick on their own right. But of course, they've all got teammates. They will have to pit at some point and switch with their teammates at that point in time, and that's when it's going to get super interesting to watch. And I think that's where, like Aditya was mentioning earlier, where a lot of their strategies, where they're going to pit, where they're going to come out, when they're going to pit, because they only have a pit window of 5 minutes or 6 minutes rather. So it is going to be rather tricky. 5 minutes rather. Sorry, it's going to be rather tricky, guys, to position their cars or their strategies or when they want to pit right. And there we go. In ninth place, we have Dushyant. In 10th place, we've got Chetan Surneni, and in 11th place, we've got Lee Keshav. So while we have 11 cars on the grid, we're going to have 22 drivers take part today. So they will be doing the switch in between, and we're a couple of seconds going away from the green lights going and the checkered flag dropping. And I'm joined by Aditya Patel to take us through the next 45 minutes of this enduro race. Aditya, I can't wait, and I'm super excited to see the action thrown our way, because here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we come around. As we're coming around the last couple of corners, it's going to be a rolling start. So we're going to see these guys come across the line, led by Ronnie, and there's going to be
it's off actually, and all these guys.
Yeah, it is off.
Yeah, we have 3 corners into the race, and it's impressive to see how clean everybody's keeping it. And what I think is, because they know it's a long race, everybody's just making sure they don't do anything wrong. Everybody's trying to make sure they keep it clean and keep their car on track for at least this first stint, because once they hand it over to their drivers, that's when all the action really begins.
And exactly like you said, that's exactly
teammates, sorry,
when they hand it over to their teammates, there's going to be so much action. There we go, as you see up and down, Ronnie leading them away with 43 minutes now, with 1 minute going to racing. So it's going to be a long race, this one. So stick with us. There's going to be a lot of excitement. There we go, for second and third already. Tejasvi Shetty and Rohan Shankar getting into a little battle, and it's going to be one hell of a one to watch, because Rohan Shankar is super quick, and you know Tejasvi Shetty as well as because Amit Puri's teammate. Arjun Maini's teammate this time around. So we're still waiting for this to go, and he's dead. I think Tejasvi now is holding up Rohan Shankar a little bit, because we see a train forming behind them, Aditya, and they still kept it super clean as they go across the line. There we go. Rohan Shankar now coming back very hard. And Tejasvi Shetty with Mahavir Raghunathan right behind them in fourth place, trying to pick up the scraps if these guys do make a mistake. Because like Aditya said, very tricky driving these cars around this circuit. And I think Tejasvi still managed to keep it up in front with now Rohan Shankar.
No, it's Rohan's actually made the move on Tejasvi. Yep, Rohan's made the move on turn 1 on Tejasvi, and Tejasvi's dropped down to third. But he's now being hounded by Mahavir Raghunathan. Mahavir has all that experience from Formula 2 and all the racing he's done in the past, so he's going to definitely pile on that pressure on Tejasvi. Tejasvi again, to us he's new. We still don't know much about him, but we're getting to see that he's a really fast driver.
I think as you said that Rohan Shankar's made a big mistake. I think Tejasvi's coming back at him at this point. Yep, he has. So Rohan Shankar has, I think, made that mistake, or he dropped back down. Because the timing screens do refresh only every time they go.
It's Tejasvi who's dropped back behind Mahavir. Rohan Shankar is still in second place, followed by Mahavir now, who's in third. Mahavir, we saw he's made a mistake just as I said that, but we saw he can be really quick, but he's just given Tejasvi the opportunity to fight back. But let's see.
Well, you know how hard Mahavir defends. He's not going to let him go easy at all. He has made a mistake and gone off, which is going to drop him well back now into the back of the grid, to the back of the pack, because these guys are quite closely bunched again. And we see, there we go. I think Rohan Shankar
is Tejasvi who's made a mistake over there. So Mahavir and Tejasvi both. And that's handed Oshan third place, and Oshan we know is Mohammad Ibrahim's teammate, and Mohammad is really, I'm sure, looking at this with a big smile on his face.
Because if he can clinch that podium this weekend around, nothing like it, because we know how quick Mohammad Ibrahim is as well. But make no mistake, Oshan Kotadia doing a super job picking up the pieces from the mistakes made by Mahavir Raghunathan and Tejasvi Shetty. So I think Arjun Maini and Karthikeyan are going to have their work cut out when these guys do come in their pits. Because right now we're following now Oshan Kotadia and Shahan Ali Motion. There's 1 second gap between them. So right now I think it's been rather clean. We've seen drivers making mistakes on their own and not going in each other. So like you said, super tricky to have these cars under control around this track.
Yeah, it's not easy at all, because these cars are a handful to drive, like I said earlier, and the drivers, their main priority is to keep all 4 wheels on the track, because one little mistake and it's done. We saw Mahavir do it the last time round, and I think there was a little contact between him and Tejasvi. We'll have to look at that later on. But Yeah, you're right. The drivers have to really keep focus, and the amount of concentration that this particular car requires them to keep is immense, and they can't afford to make any mistakes. And while we're speaking, I just noticed on the screens I don't see Chetan Surineni and Harry Dalton. They're probably in 11th place. Yeah, we've got the top 10 on the screen there.
Top 10 only,
Uh,
yes. Here we go. Chetan Subramani is down in 11th place. Our broadcaster is just focusing on him at this moment. So you said it. You have him right there. But there we go. We're back on now with Ron Shankar and Chetan and Oshan Kotadia. So now things are settling down. But if you see the gaps, I think someone there's been made a mistake. I think that's between Shahan? Yeah, that's between Shahan Ali Motion and Tejas Shetty. I think someone else has made a mistake there because Avinash Gupta and Vishnu Prasad seem to have come up on the grid right now. It was brilliant to watch because there's a lot of action seems to be happening up and down the grid at the moment. I mean, while it's 1.7 second lead, there seems to be a great battle on for third place. Sorry, is it third or is it fourth place right now between Tejasvi Shetty and...
Yeah, Tejasvi Shetty and Shahan are now fighting. Tejasvi's gone up to fourth again after making that mistake earlier on the last lap, but he's dropped. He's gained a place again. Shahan dropped the place, and now Shahan's got to fight back all over again. I'm sure Shahan wants to pull up as many places as he can before he hands it over to his teammate, because he does have stiff competition all around him. Again, like I said earlier, Tejasvi is paired with Maini, Oshan with Mohammed, and Shahan knows that those guys can be really quick. So it's all in his hands to make sure he can make the best of the stint before handing it over to his teammate, who is Ankush Yeturu.
And as you were talking about that, it was brilliant watching. I think we were on board with Shahan at that point, watching him go down. Watching him go down that corkscrew. So that was brilliant watching that car just drop. But like Arthur said, you were saying in the beginning, you can't really see as you enter that crest. And you're so right, because from the driver's point of view, the only thing you see is the sky. I mean, you've driven here before? What is it like?
I actually haven't driven there. I've probably driven there. No, I've actually driven in a game and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But I've heard it's a legendary circuit to drive on. I'd love to drive on it in real life. I think Arman may have driven on it at some point. But yeah, I mean, I definitely look at the elevation change, look at the fast sweeping corners, uphill, downhill, and of course the corkscrew. I can imagine that sends your stomach straight up into your mouth. So you know that feeling when you drop really quick in a roller coaster. That's what that corner gives you.
That's exactly what so many drivers describe that corner as, a roller coaster, especially when you drop quickly. It is like getting your stomach up in your throat, and that feeling I don't really like very much. I'm not sure if you enjoy it, but it's not very good.
I hate it. I hate that feeling.
I don't think I enjoy that feeling very much at all. But coming back now, we've got about 38 minutes into the race, so we're about 10 minutes away from the pit window opening, from when these guys have to swap drivers. So if you're just joining us, we're UltimateE's All-Star Virtual League, where we're running our own little mini endurance during the Le Mans weekend, the iconic Le Mans 24-hour weekend, where we're paying homage to them. We're doing a small little 45-minute endurance, taking a break from the regular stuff that we normally do. So it's been brilliant with watching these guys. We've never done this format before, especially when they have to go in. So when you see Devin Twelve, I think I just was saying that. I think Rohan Shankar's made a mistake.
Is that Rohan Shankar? That is Rohan. And it's given Oshan and Tejasvi the opportunity to catch up with him.
Because Oshan and Tejasvi right now on his tail at the moment, but it's not very easy to overtake him on this track, especially with these cars that's being so slippery all through. But there we go. I think Oshan now is caught up to him 6/10 behind Rohan Shankar. That's given Ronnie now a 6-second lead out in front, so he's rather comfortable there. Him and Sebastian probably smiling away, smiling all the way to the podium. They can keep going as it is. But there we go. I think Oshan right now 6/10 keep him very, very honest, but see, Rohan Shankar, after that little mistake, he's been keeping it super clear out there.
He is, and it's going to be interesting because the pit lane opens in 11 minutes. It's going to be interesting to see what Ronnie's strategy is going to be, because I'm not really sure between the two of them who's much quicker. Between Ronnie and Sebastian, they're both evenly paced, but you're going to see Oshan dive into the pit pretty soon. You're going to see Tejasvi dive in pretty soon, which when I say that, I mean pretty early in the pit window. So as soon as the pit opens, these guys are going to dive into the pit, because they're going to hand it over to their teammates who are relatively faster than them for sure, and they are going to try and reel in Ronnie and Sebastian, because when you have Arjun, you have Mohammed, you have Amit, these guys are very, very quick in this game. So they're going to try and use as much time as they can to catch Sebastian. But again, Sebastian is very, very experienced in real life, very experienced in the game as well. It's going to make for a very, very interesting finish here today.
Absolutely, because as you're talking about, I just want to touch upon the guys running in the back of the pack, which is in seventh, eighth, ninth, and tenth, where we've got Dushyant, Vishnu Prasad, and Avinash Gupta. So these guys, they're going to be handing it over to people like Amit Kuchi, Sai Sanjay, who are super quick drivers as well. So I wonder what their strategy is, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be pitting early as well, like guys up in front. Amit Kuchi, as you know, is super quick, and anything that we've thrown at him, he's just come out on top every single time. And I think with a teammate like Avinash Gupta, who's managed to hold on, he's not been doing all that badly right now. He's managed to hold on in the top 10. So it could give guys like that who could probably have to work around them their second stint and then probably see what they're made of.
Yeah, for sure. And while you were speaking, I've just noticed that Lee Keshav has moved his way up to 6th, and he's not far behind Shahan, who's again not far behind Tejasvi.
Tejasvi, yeah.
He is going to be handing it over to Sohail. So I'd love to actually get Sohail on this commentary box right now and listen to what he has to say, because he must be now really looking forward to getting into this fight, because watching this, it's going to be Sai, Karthik, Sohail, Ankush, Arjun, Mohammed, Advait. So the next bunch of drivers, it's going to be wild.
They're going to be super quick drivers, and I think just before we went live, I think you gave Sohail a little bit of a scare, because you put him in the commentary box up with me, and being a true racing driver, I don't think while he enjoyed it commentating on the GT guys, I don't think he wanted to sit out this weekend at all. So I think he'll be thanking his stars right now for letting him drive today and not putting him there. But that being said, we're still following Lee Keshav around right now. He's in 6th place, and like you said, he's been up insane time. He still is, because while you were talking, he's taken about 3/10 of Shahan up in front of him. So he's been putting in some really tough laps. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to take over. I think we got Sohail now in the comm box. Sohail, if you're with us, how are you doing?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, man. I mean, look, you must be smiling right now. Lee Keshav,
I'm actually pretty tense right now, because he's actually doing a really good job. We haven't had any incident points, and he's doing faster laps than he's done so far. So I'm pretty impressed with what he's doing right now, and I just hope that he can continue it.
But you got Mahavir right behind you. You got less than a second now behind you. But he's 4.4 seconds up ahead. So it's been great watching DK bring this up, and I can't wait to have you on board. What would your strategy be? Come in early, wait, or give him a little bit more time outside and then take over?
I think for now, we're gonna plan. The plan is to bring him in early, because he's had lack of practice compared to me, and I'm having more pace than him at this point of time at this track. So the plan is to bring him in early, and bring him in early will also mean that I'll get some clean air when I'm out, and I'll be able to push as hard as I can till the time the others make the pit stops, and then we can take it on from there.
Because I mean, like Mahavir is really closing on him as we talk. He's now half a second behind your teammate at this point in time. But then I can't wait to see you back in the hot seat again, Sol. But it's been great. It's been great having you here in the comm box once again. But best of luck, because your stint's probably coming up. You've got about 3 minutes now to go prepare and see what you can do.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, man.
All right, it's interesting to actually hear. Yeah, it's interesting to hear from Sohail. You know, it's and that's what I said. These guys are definitely going to want their teammates to pit early, especially the guys like Sohail, Arjun, Advait, Mohammed. You know, they want their teammates to come in soon.
Sure, because now we're about a minute. Now we're about 5 minutes away from the pit window right now. So he's got a couple of minutes to go prepare. Aditya, when these car switches are happening, like we did in the real life, like back in December, the X1 Racing League, it was super new. No one had ever seen this happen in single series before. And has this ever happened in the virtual league before? Something that we're trying this time out.
Yeah, I mean, you see races like this happen around the world, but what we're trying to do here is actually make this pocket friendly as well, because it is quite expensive to, at the end of the day, buy cars in this game, and at some level discourages people from taking part. So what we've done is we're using legacy cars, which are more or less free. We're using free circuits. We're trying to give everybody the opportunity to come and participate. We're pairing drivers with some really, really experienced drivers to give them the opportunity to learn and be competitive. So when you look at somebody like Tejasvi, for example, for him to be paired with Arjun Maini is a huge learning experience, because they get together on the same channel on Discord, and during sessions they're talking to each other. Arjun is training him, just as we say that they had a bit of
Yeah, I've been he's lost
yeah.
for a couple of places. Even more 3 places now he's going to lose. I can see it's a really horrible place to lose a car there. One of the cogs too, not easy. You can't really see anyone else coming at you. So there we go. I think he's lost for 4 places. Tejasvi. So yeah, we back down to 7th place. So yeah, he's lost a bit. So Arjun Maini now probably has his work cut out for him.
He does indeed. Tejasvi's dropped down to 7th, which puts him right now behind Lee and in front of Dushyant. But yeah, you're right. Arjun does now have his work cut out for him. The pit window is going to open in the next 4 minutes, so it's going to be interesting to see everybody start to rush and dive into the pits. And yeah, just as we were talking about Tejasvi, I hope that's not the commentator's curse all over
I
again.
hope not, because it's been we've been plaguing these guys within the last couple of weeks, and it unfortunately has not worked in our favor. We try to say nice things about them, and then boom, it shoots us in the foot. But there we go. That being said, we're still following Ronnie around. He's got that 3.8 second gap. Rohan Shankar in 2nd place with 29 minutes into this race. I mean, with 29 minutes left to go in this race. With Oshan Kotadia in 3rd place, and then Tejasvi was up there as well, battling with these boys. Made a big mistake, dropped out in the 7th place. We have Shahan Ali Motion in 3rd place. We have Mahavir Raghunathan in 5th place. So we've talked a lot about Mahavir Raghunathan on board as our wildcard special guest as well. And him being paired with Karthikeyan, that's a super strong team, Aditya.
They are a very strong team, and in fact, Mahavir had told us the other day that he's rather new to the game, so we thought, okay, let's pair him with Karthik because he needs to obviously get up to speed a little bit. But Mahavir was straight away up to speed, and we were really impressed by his pace, because it's not a very easy game, or is it a very easy car to get used to. So it's very impressive that Mahavir, yesterday when we did a mock test, he was flying, absolutely flying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he gets into trouble occasionally, like we saw. There was a little bit of contact between him and Tejasvi. We'll have to review it later to see what happened. But nevertheless, he's catching up, and he's making good ground all over again.
Because on his own, he dropped back pretty much all the way to the back of the grid when he did make that little bit of a mistake. I had got that tangle with HT. But then he's made it all the way back up, and now he's pulling in people like Shahan Ali Motion in front of him, because he's been taking about 4/10 out of him every lap, which is great to watch. And then we're on board now with Sohil Shah's teammate Lee Keshav and Tejasvi Shetty, who made that mistake, now down in 7th place and coming back very hard now. And Lee Keshav, so I'm pretty sure Sohil is probably sitting there and screaming on his helmet right now, trying to tell Lee Keshav to keep Tejasvi Shetty behind until he comes in. He's going to go out then against Arjun Maini in that car.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's going to be interesting to see, because again, just after the pit stop, it's going to be Sohil and Arjun Maini in this particular battle, and that's going to be great to watch. And we just saw actually Shahan and Mahavir have a little bit of a tussle. Shahan went off on the corkscrew.
I think he's kept that position because our timing screen still show us. No, Mahavir has gotten ahead of him.
Mahavir has got it.
Mahavir has, yeah. There we go. I think it's the same thing happening now with Tejasvi
and Tejasvi just hustled Lee. Yeah, he's hustled him to getting that place from him. He's made sure Lee made a mistake, and Tejasvi's got that place. There's a lot going on here up and down the field. Look at Shahan and Mahavir. Shahan is not letting him go.
Shahan's going to come back in him because that move with the Coxes, we have a glimpse of it. We did see Shahan go offline, and Mahavir did take due advantage of that. But there we go. Mahavir defends unbelievably well in whatever car you put him in, and that's exactly what we're saying right now, because he's defending super hard against Shahan, but and actually pulling away a little bit.
He is actually pulling away. He is actually pulling away from him. He's not putting a foot wrong. It's so impressive. It's so rare that you see Mahavir making mistakes, and I guess that does come from his experience in international racing compared to these guys. And again, Mahavir is new to the game. We expected him to find it tough, because anybody new to this game finds it tough. It's been pretty cool to see that he is pretty quick in this game.
He's up there, back up in 4th place, and he's going to hand that over to Karthikeyan, who's going to come out like an absolute cracker, because he's definitely want to go for that podium. Because Karthik, in this game, the last couple of races, last couple of weekends, R Factor, when we saw him do the Battle of the Cities, was super quick. So we can't wait to see what he can do today on the iRacing platform with these V8 supercar holders. Aditya, there we go. The pit window now. We're about a minute away from opening. We're around about 15 seconds away now from this pit window opening. I predict a whole bunch of cars coming in now.
Yeah, I mean, there we can see it now. We're counting down. 25:59 is when the pit window opens, and it should be open now. And now is when people are going to start diving in.
Here we go. Ronnie is still coming on the. It's still the middle part of the track, but sorry, excuse me. But there we go. Ronnie's still got that 3-second lead, so it's going to be good when Ronnie hands this over to Sebastian, because they're going to come back and Sebastian can drive. Like, Ronnie has not really put a foot wrong, because he's taken. We saw him get off that start and then just pull away, ease off very quickly with that 3-second lead. I've had a 6-second lead somewhere in the middle, but now it's dropped that down seconds, but then control that gap for Shankar for quite a long time now in this endurance race. So I mean, with these guys driving so well, so clean, as they do, I wonder their teammates now just have to match up that, because there's a lot of pressure, especially these guys. A lot of these guys can change and swap, and there we go. I think Dushyant now is coming in, so we're going to see Sai Sanjay come on track in action out of there. Arjun, Maini, everyone's pitting now. There we go, as you called it. Everyone's now pitting really early. And we're going to have a whole new, so on your left side of the screen, you're going to see a lot of names changing. Don't worry, it's the same team. We're still going to have 11 cars in the grid, but we're going to have, we're doing driver swaps in the pit lanes. A lot of the names like Ronnie, Shankar, Oshan, Raghunathan, they'll all change their teammates, and we've just seen now Arjun Maini come out of the pit. So Tejasvi has gone in, he's pitted. Arjun Maini has come out. Amit Kuti as well. Avinash Gupta as well has pitted. So Amit Kuti now comes out as well in 10th place. So Amit's got a lot of work from 10th place, and he's 17 seconds now behind Sai Sanjay. The Sai Dushyant is pitted. Sai Sanjay has come in. We see Sohil Shah coming in place of Lee Keshav, who's pitted. Vishnu Prasad still hasn't pitted. Arjun Maini now come out in 7th place. So there's going to be a lot of movement now the next couple of minutes with these guys are pitting Aditya.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, one, where they come out, and two, how they're going to actually start making places up. So that's what I've been really looking forward to, because like I said, there's a lot of guys who have quicker drivers waiting for their chance, and now they're out on track. And there's a lot of very evenly matched guys like Ronnie and Sebastian who can play around a little bit in the pit window and actually pit either in the middle or later. So, but again, some of them are changing tires, some of them are refueling. It's going to be interesting to see whether they take the gamble on whether they have to refuel because there's not enough fuel. But the gamble on changing tires is going to be interesting to see, because at the end of the day, it takes time. But can they make that much time up is what these guys are going to have to calculate.
This is so much fun to watch, and for me commentating on this is super interesting, because I'm for the first time witnessing something like this on esports in terms of the names changing, and while I'm commentating I've got to go back and figure out who the new guys are now on track and their teammates. That brings us, I think Ronnie still has not pitted, so he's still got about 2 minutes left to close. So he hasn't pitted, Rohan Shankar hasn't pitted, the top 3 as it stands, the top 4 rather, 1, 2, 3, 4, the top 5 actually Aditya at the moment. None of the 5 have pitted, so you can see the guys behind them. Mohammed, these are the new class characters that we're going to have now. Mohammed Ibrahim, Arjun Maini, Sohil Shah, Sai Sanjay and Amit Kuti in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. So the guys, their teammates have pitted, they've come out now in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The gap's not that far apart between these guys, and we know how quick people like Mohammed Ibrahim, Arjun Maini, Sohil Shah and Amit Kuti are. So it's this, there we go. I think that Mahavir and yep, there we go. The top 2 have now come in. So Karthik Tarni looks like he's going to take over from Mahavir. Raghunathan. Ronnie Westenberger still looks like he's staying out. Rohan Shankar is still staying out. So Karthik, so yeah, there we go. Mahavir's gone in. Karthik's going to come out in his place, in 3rd place. And we're also going to, have Ankush Yaturu. Kushan's also pitted. So Ankush Yaturu now comes out in the 4th place. Vishnu Prasad in 5th. Mohammed Ibrahim in 3rd at the moment of. Mohammed Ibrahim in 3rd. So a lot has changed now as they've come out.
A lot has changed, and a lot is going to continue to change, because you've got Najib who's taken over from Vishnu there. You see Ankush, Karthik has been someone who's gained out of this, and Mohammed as well. Mohammed has gained a lot. But what's going to be interesting is after the pit stops between Ronnie and Rohan, how they are actually going to manage this.
Yeah, because these 2 guys have some super drivers as well coming out to battle. They got Advait Deodat, they've also got Sebastian coming out with these 2 guys in 3.7 seconds. Ronnie, there we go. Rohan Shankar, top 2 have come into pit. So as you were talking, the top 2 look like they come into pit. Sebastian's going to take over from Ronnie, and Sebastian's going to take over from Ronnie, and Advait Deodat is going to take over from Rohan Shankar. as we head with 20 minutes to go into racing. Looks like he has come out. Yeah, he's maintained that gap in the pits. It looks like he has. Looks like he has maintained the gap in the pits according to my timing.
Yeah, they're still in the pit. I think it's going to take them some time to refuel and change tires. And we're watching them right now. We're watching Ronnie and right now Sebastian and Advait actually refueling, changing tires, and in all this, Mohammed is catching up as much as he can. We're watching Mohammed now going through the corkscrew. He's gonna push really hard.
One corner after corkscrew to come down the start finish straight, so he's pushing as hard as he can. There we go in that last second. There, I think that's Ronnie. Sebastian just in the pits, followed now by Advait. The other now is coming out in the pits. I think in the back of our screens, there we go. There is Mohammad Ibrahim coming around the last corner. So he's pushed as hard as he could, but I don't think he's made up enough time because the gap in front now. What, 8 seconds between?
8 seconds.
Yeah, 8-9 seconds and all.
Not enough, but it's not enough. But I think he can catch them. Knowing Mohammed, if he doesn't make any mistakes, he's been super quick. He's shown that he can be close to a second a lap faster than most of the other guys on this field. This car is new to him, obviously, and it's new to everybody. So it is taking him some time to get the hang of it. But when he does, he is blisteringly quick, and we're seeing him again showing all that talent that he's got. Now we're watching actually Karthik and
Karthik and Arjun, yeah. We've been looking forward to
Karthik's
this.
showing that he's got his mirrors full. He's making a little bit of a few mistakes here and there, and I'm sure he's just watching his mirrors and watching Arjun all over the back of it.
I mean, he's got his mirrors full of Arjun right now, and he's driving with his elbows. Because Arjun and Karthik, they're both super quick in this game. They're very evenly matched, especially on this platform. So we've seen a couple of their battles through and through. Of course, Arjun Maini, the Formula 2 driver, and Karthik Tarki as well, a real life racer. So both these guys do have on-track experience and know exactly what it is to drive these cars on track. But here we go in the digital world now. Arjun Maini, 310.
He got it to the back of him.
I think Arjun Maini is going to come off worse because I think everyone
What just happened there?
just caused a massive pile-up in a corkscrew. So between Karthik Tarni, Arjun Maini, Ankush Yaturu and Sohail Shah, I think Sohail Shah has moved up about 4 places in this because he's been the biggest winner. But Karthik Tarni, Ankush, Arjun Maini, yes, Sohail Shah, there we go, up in a 4th place. And a big mistake from Arjun Maini going in the back of Karthik Tarni, just as you were talking about how good they were as racing drivers. Aditya, we've done it again.
I mean, even the best make mistakes, and we saw how much chaos that caused. It's only now that we're seeing Karthik Tarni get out of it. He's lost so much time in that scenario there, and it's really unfortunate for Karthik. He's going to try and get his
Andre is racing very hard now down that last corner, but he's on the outside line and he's taking a much wider line, so he will get. There we go. Just as we're calling it. This is we're calling it. Sai Sanjay made a mistake. He's going to give Karthik Tarni a place up right now.
I think that was Najib. Najib made a mistake there.
Najib made that mistake, and Karthik Tarni now moves up in 8th place. But Arjun Maini back up in a 5th place, even after that contact. But Sohail Shah there we go. He must be smiling on that helmet of his right now.
Yeah, he's made a lot of time out of that actually. And that incident actually caused a load of chaos. You can see the gap between Mohammed now down to Sohail. But while we're speaking, you said Mohammed was 8 seconds behind Advait. Just see how far he is behind Advait right now.
Now taken 4 seconds out of Advait, and with 17 minutes to go, in 3 minutes he's taken out 4 seconds. So just do the math. He's going to be on Sebastian's tail by the end of this race. If all goes well and he doesn't make any mistakes. But Advait now, we know, is a super quick racer. We know how good he is, especially how clean he drives. He doesn't make any mistakes. And if he can keep it that way, but Mohammed seems to be catching about 2/10 in every other sector. He seems to be taking about 2/10 off him. Because as I'm watching the timing streets, it's just going 3.8, 3.6 every time he goes around the corner. Aditya, it's quite brilliant watching this guy drive.
It is. I mean, he's always the treat to watch in this game, and that's why I'm really excited to see. You see how he's catching Advait really, really quickly, and I'm pretty sure he's going to catch him in the next 2-3 laps, and then after that he's going to chase hard to catch Sebastian. But at the same time, Sebastian is quick. He is pulling away from Advait.
Because Sebastian now is there were 3 seconds that came out of the pits, and now he's taking 2 seconds out of him. So it's a 5-second lead to Advait. But we can see Mohammed Ibrahim pushing so hard because he's kicking up dust in almost every other corner he's going to. And 2.4 seconds, he can now see Ajit Devdan in front of him. That must have
Oh,
been a
he is
monster
really
lap.
reeling him in. He is really reeling him in.
And this is the battle. This is the battle I really want to watch because once, I think it's we're only talking a matter of time. Once Mohammad Ibrahim takes Adit Deodar, he's got 50. You probably have 14 minutes or so to go after Sebastian. Wonder if he can actually go for the race win, because if he can, that's gonna make his teammate Oshan Kotadia very happy.
Yeah, and Oshan didn't really put a foot wrong. He kept it consistent. He knew he had to hand it over to Mohammad. So, and now Oshan's consistency is looking like it's paying off. But it's going to be interesting now when Mohammad tackles Advait. But right now we're watching Sohail and Arjun Maini. Good close battle between these two. We're seeing Sohail run wide there and Arjun keeping it a little tight.
I think you're just taking a much wider line to get that inside line to defend around that corner. We've seen Sohail do this in practice a couple of times. You practice those lines especially a couple of times because I can see now he's trying to defend rather hard because Arjun Maini now 7-10s are behind him. So Sohail, he's got a bit of work to do after that. But the gap now, if you look at it between Adit Deodar and Mohammad Ibrahim, 2-10s.
He is flying. He's got him 2 seconds on that last lap.
I have a feeling Sebastian's made a mistake. No, he's about 6 seconds now ahead. Sorry. The timing screen just showed me 3rd and 4th. But there we go. Coming down that long start finish straight. I wonder, is Mohammad Ibrahim going to line him up because he's good up in his crosshairs? Mohammad Advit's got his...
he's going to get him. He's going to dive down the inside.
Oh, it's a
Is Advit going to turn in? Oh,
no, he let him go. That's a super move. Super clean racing. He had the pace and caught Advait within no time. But Harry Dalton that we see in 11th place at the moment, following him around with Chetan Sundrani as teammates as the last car, they just got lapped. But I think the gap now between these guys, between Arjun Maini, Sohail Shah, Amit Kuti, and the train behind him that he's got, looks like it's getting super close. But Amit Kuti, we've spoken so highly about him the last couple of weeks. On 10th place, his teammate Avinash Gupta handled the car in the same place, but he's now down in 10th place. I'm wondering what's happening there. He can make up that kind of time.
I think I saw earlier on that Avinash had gone off and he crashed just before the pit stop, and it was a crash that cost him a lot of time. So I think that has affected their position in the race. And of course, you're looking at Najib, who had an incident on his first lap out of the pits, and that's also cost him a lot. But again, the whole bunch of guys like Karthik, Shahan, Arjun Maini, who got caught up in that incident, you're seeing that they have lost out, and Sohail is the one to have gained out of all of that. And Sohail is now running happily in 4th place, but Arjun Maini is not making it easy for him.
He's definitely not, but Sohail is doing a great job defending against Arjun Maini. Because Arjun is most definitely quicker than Sohail maybe on paper, but with all the experience that he has. But Sohail, look at, he's braking really late, taking super wide.
It's a bit too late, just as you said it there.
Too late, yeah. A little bit too late. Arjun Maini now coming and back at him on the start.
It is a drag race now to turn 1.
This is a drag race in turn 1, but looks like Arjun Maini is going to get the job done on the inside line. Sohail is not, he's coming back at him.
He's not letting it. He's trying to keep it on the outside.
Has he kept it on the outside? Because if Sohail has accepted, he has. Man, that is an insane comeback, Sohail. Racecraft by the young man, and Arjun Maini now coming back at Sohail once again. But this battle out there is it's now trying to keep us on our toes with 12 minutes to go. With 12 and a half minutes to go.
Yeah, what a battle we're watching here actually. It's super entertaining. Normally you're used to having Sohail the last couple of weeks in the commentary box with you, and now you're actually watching him giving us a lot of entertainment here. But what a move around the outside, and you don't see that often.
He did make a mistake in the last corner that gave Arjun Maini the traction to come back at him through it and take it around the inside on the first corner, but then he came back around the outside. There was brilliant driving by both these guys, giving each other space, giving each other respect in both speed, and keeping it super clean because they haven't taken each other off. But Sohail Shah now has his mirrors full of Arjun Maini once again. They are coming down this long start to the straight. Arjun Maini, not
Oh, he's going to try going down the inside,
on
but
the
Soil
inside, he's
just
going to
about
jam
giving
it
up.
on there, but Soil is not giving up. Arjun Maini is just, does he have a little more speed, or will he fall into slipstream Soil Shah and take him down first corner? Because this is again, like we're seeing, lining each other up, Aditya. Like we saw the last time, but Arjun knows he can take him back. Whoa,
Whoa,
I
Soil
think he's
just
been
a
tapped.
bit
Oh,
too
he's
late on the brakes there. Oh
Oh,
no.
he just about lost it. There's some great racing there, Soil, but what insane defending when it lasted. And I'm pretty sure he's now fuming in that helmet and going to come back. Oh, he's made another little mistake. It's going to give Arjun Maini a little bit of a breather right now because he's taking a little bit of time out of himself. But 3 seconds now out of Sohail. But up in front, Aditya, the battle now with Mohammad Ibrahim and Sebastian Granet. It's 2 seconds.
Yep. It's getting really, really close on the front, and it's less than 2 seconds now. He's really reeling him really quickly. So I think again, another 2 laps you're going to see him right now. Actually, he's catching him super quick, and I think that's Chetan or Harry who's tailing him, trying to actually help himself to some quick times. Who's that? Wait, I think. Wait, we just saw Sebastian. Sebastian just went off.
Yeah, he's gone off, which is now given Mohammad Ibrahim the lead. What just happened there? I wonder if we can get a replay from our broadcaster because we just saw Sebastian completely lose it. And oh, he's lost it again. I wonder if he's not having a problem with his tires. What's going on?
That's going to lose it to Advait as well. He's going to lose a place to Advait, and I think he may actually lose a place to Sohail and Arjun. No, Arjun is fine. Sohail.
Oh, he's gone off again.
We're watching. No, that's the replay. We're watching the replay here, and that's where everything went wrong for Sebastian.
Lost it on his own, gone in the gravel trap, and it looks like he's now lost 2 places now to Mohammad Ibrahim and Albert the other. Albert and Mohammad now in the battle for the lead with 6 seconds between them. Aditya, this is turned on its head within the last 10 minutes of racing.
Completely, and you know the guy who's going to be the most thrilled about this is going to be Oshan Kotadia. He all he had to do was keep it clean, handed it over to Mohammad. It's really unfortunate that Sebastian made a mistake there. I've got my hands on my head after that because I was looking forward to a great battle. Again, also now it's going to be I think Sebastian's going to try and catch Advait now. He's definitely not too far behind. He's going to try and at least salvage one more place out of this. And he knows he's made a mistake, and I'm sure he wants to at least make up something for this.
I'm pretty sure exactly like you said, he definitely does. He's probably cursing under there going, if he hadn't made that mistake, he had a comfortable 2-second lead. These guys, Ronnie and Sebastian, have driven a class apart. They've been an absolute class apart, leading in front, especially with both these guys making hardly any mistakes after Sebastian dropped a little bit of a wheel, and has given now Mohammad Ibrahim the lead with Advait Deodar in second place, Sebastian now in third place, but 1 second behind Advait Deodar. So it looks like he might just catch him with 1.2 seconds, very, very close between them because he can see Advait, so he's going to come at it very, very fast. Arjun Maini looks like after that mistake that he made, has made up a whole bunch of places, sitting pretty up in 4th place. Soul Shah now up in 5th place. So, I think there's another mistake down there. What's happening? Was there a lap now with Harry? I think Harry had gone off. It was Harry. Soul Shah now that had gone off. We have to just wait for the time machine. No, I think there was Harry. I think the time machine refreshed now. I think Harry being lapped by these guys up in front.
But now it's really close between these 2 guys.
That's it now. He's on his tail. He's on Advait. It's a 10-second deficit for first place and 8 minutes to go. But I wonder if we're going to go. I wonder what these 2 guys are going to give us some great racing going into corner 1. Whoa, he's
on board with Sebastian now, and we're watching these 2 guys go really properly at it and get to really great surprises next time. Really great to watch guys like this fighting against each other.
And this is brilliant because right now with 7.5 minutes to go, Sebastian trying to make up for that mistake he made, was leading the race comfortably, made a mistake, was dropped down to 3rd place, but was now half a second behind Advait Deodar, and he's trying to line him up because Advait now is driving some super defensive lines, making Sebastian break super late. It's going to eat up into his tire life a little bit, but there we go. Sebastian now has got him in his crosshairs. This is some exciting racing now with these 2 for 2nd and 3rd place in the championship.
Yeah, and it's 4 laps to go. They're pushing really, really hard. And Sebastian is, I'm sure he's kicking himself for that mistake he made, and he wants to make up as much as he can for it. and he's not going to give up. He's going to push Advait till the finish line, at least try and get him way before that. But Advait's got the experience. You're looking at Advait not make any mistakes right now as we speak. But I don't want to curse or throw the commentator's curse on him.
Yeah, let's not do it.
He's going to give it everything to make sure he stays in front of Sebastian.
Sure, because he has. I think Sebastian is a little bit of a mistake because he's pulled that gap out. There's another second now between the two of them. It was half a second as he came around the last time. There we go, 8-10. So he is. This gap is being ebbing and flowing between the two of them. But Advait been driving a brilliant race right now with those defensive lines, the defensive driving that he's got going on with Sebastian, trying to get him every single time, trying to get that second take second place away from him. Is that Karthikeyan and Amit Kuti now locked in battle? Yeah, that is.
No, it's Karthik and Ankush, I think. Is it Karthik and Ankush? Yeah, it's Karthik and Ankush there. I think Karthik's getting the place.
Yeah,
this is quite easy.
This looks like. Yeah, this does look like it's. Oh, he's got it! This is the second time! Karthikeyan!
Oh no!
Luck does not favor the brave in the corkscrew, and there we go. He's lost another 2 places. Once again, Amit Kuti goes past Karthikeyan as well. Karthik, this is not your day. What in the world is that?
I don't know what happened there. Karthik had clearly had it. Unless Karthik made a mistake and that's what drove Ankush into him, because Ankush was way too far behind to drive into him. We'll have to see a mistake. We'll have to see a video to see what exactly happened there again, and post race I think the students will have to check that out. But again, back with this great battle for second place. It's been 40 minutes in this race so far, and this is the battle for second place. That was really great to watch.
That's exactly like you called it, because I was telling you yesterday that 40 minutes, I wonder how you're going to go through 40 minutes virtual world, and I can tell you no less that I have not felt 40 minutes go by with 5 minutes left. We're in the closing stages of the first race of UltimateE's Corsa Virtual League. We're at Laguna Seca, where right now Mohammad Ibrahim has driven an insane race to come and take first place, because Sebastian has made a mistake, dropped 2 places. Advait are now in second place. Sebastian made a mistake, dropped 2 places in third place. Arjun Maini looks like he's profited from a bunch of mistakes that were made earlier. He's up now in the 4th place. Sohail Shah in 5th place. So it's been good watching Sohail, because he took over from Lee Keshav. His elbows out for a couple of laps. It's brilliant watching him drive. He's been a co-commentator for the last couple of weekends. Been great watching him on track. Sanjay now in 6th place. Ankush Yaturu in 7th place. Karthikeyan, man oh man, when did this guy catch a break on this track? I feel so bad for him down in 8th place. With Amit Kuti, I wonder what the story is there, Aditya, because he is one of the quickest that we know, and is now down in 9th place. He's not able to make too much time on the guys up ahead.
Yeah, we saw that mistake from Avinash early on, and Avinash has been reasonably quick, but he made a mistake just before the pit stops, and that lost him a lot of time, and I think that's what's really cost him. Amit's also finding this car a bit harder to drive compared to the usual single-seaters, so he does have a lot to learn when it comes to switching around between cars, whereas you can see guys with experience like Advait and Sebastian. You switch cars, you give them any car, and they're still competitive, still quick. You can't, of course, when it comes to guys like Mohammed and Arjun, they're at a different level. Amit does have a lot to learn. He's still young. He's not really raced cars like these guys have, so he has a long way to go. But he is, all said and done, an incredible talent.
And he's in the care of some of the best in the business. And as I say that, we've got, I think, Sebastian now trying to make that move out of the car. But there's not. He just go. He breaks super late. Almost goes into the back of Advait. But 3 minutes to go of racing. With 2 laps left. Advait, Jordan and Sebastian are still giving us so much to talk about. This is brilliant watching this drive, because Advait has been defending the last 7 minutes against Sebastian Aditya.
He's making it hard. He's not making it easy for Sebastian at all. But at the same time, Advait is defending smart. He knows where to defend and he knows where not to defend, which just means that he's not slowing down that much. Oh, Sebastian's trying.
He's trying to make that move, because now he's going to stick it around the outside to see if he can get it done. But then, like we saw Sohail taking that wider line. He's made it work. He's made that switchback work around the inside. I made him a little bit now, flying away in that first corner. Advait, I don't think I expected that.
So, Advait did everything he could because Sebastian was smart. He put Advait on the side. He made sure Advait stayed on the inside. He just covered the outside line so Advait couldn't go back. And that's it. It was job done. It was a super move by Sebastian. Really smart, really well played.
You're very, very clever driving and very good race craft as well. Both these guys give each other enough respect and space while they overtake each other. And there we go. We've got race control coming out saying the last 3 laps to go in the first UltimateE All-Star Virtual League, the Enduro Series. So we've now got 11 teams to this grid with Mohammad Ibrahim now 15 seconds, 16 seconds. These two guys battling have given Mohammad enough of a lead now, Aditya. And this is rather comfortable because he was, from 4th place onwards, fought his way up into 1st place, and it's been super watching him drive because, like you called it, and you said, watch out for this guy, he's super quick in his game. It's exactly what he's gone and done.
Yeah, always impressive, and we've seen him race against some of the best in the world in Formula 3 cars, and he's been up there, he's been on top winning races, so you can't doubt Mohammad for a second, and he's young, he's a karter, he's quick. Again, another immense talent, someone to watch out for, not just in the virtual world, but also in the real world. And, he's just proving over here, he's not putting a foot wrong and just pulling away from the rest of the field.
Exactly what he's done because, as we say that, he's got another second and a half between Advait Deodar and him. Oh, has Sebastian made a mistake? He's come back, yeah.
What happened there?
What's happened there? I think has there been contact while trying to come back? This is the first replay.
No, it's the first replay. That's what happened early on. We seem to have missed
I think we're back in the live, but we've got 2 laps left, and Sebastian now has dropped back 6 seconds now behind Advait. So either there's been contact or someone's made a little bit of a mistake because Sebastian had taken 2nd place from Advait and now back in the 3rd place. So Advait now up in the 2nd place. I wonder the stewards out there are going to have a lot of work have their work out for them tonight.
Yeah, there's been a few incidents up and down the field. We've been getting reports from a few drivers already because after their stint is done, they've actually sent some reports in. But we are hearing that there was contact between Advait and Sebastian, so we are going to have to see what happens after this race when the stewards make a decision.
Like you just said, we're hearing that Advait just had run into Sebastian. There's a little bit of contact, like Aditya said. But we are on the last lap of racing, where Mohammad Ibrahim now in 1st place. We've got 5 seconds to Advait. So
is he?
Out of fuel.
Yes, Mohammad's run out of fuel. He's run out of fuel.
Yeah, he has run out of fuel. Because Advait got on the outside on the last corner.
On the last corner.
Oh my God!
How has
weak? And is that also going to give Sebastian now 2nd place? It does. It does give Sebastian 2nd place. Have they miscalculated this? Because Mohammad now had a brilliant race. Was 17 seconds in front. And now trying to struggle across the line, and
oh my God.
He is going to lose a lot of places.
He is losing. He is just hoping that car crawls along across the line.
Oh
my God.
This is a disaster and heartbreak for him. They're just inches across the line.
He's just crossed the line.
So Arjun Maini then moves up. Advait Deodar, under investigation, the stewards now wins the race at the moment. Great little drive. Advait, great little drive by you. Sebastian now 2nd place.
What a finish.
Arjun Maini 3rd place. What a finish. Because we thought Mohammad Ibrahim had it completely covered until the last corner of the last lap, where Advait, where Mohammad ran out of fuel and then he's given up almost 6 places, the guys ahead. So as it stands, yeah, Advait Deodar in 1st place, Sebastian Garnett in 2nd, Arjun Maini finishing in 3rd, Sai Sanjay in 4th, Sol Shah in 5th place, Mohammad Ibrahim, tough luck in 6th place, Karthik Tadni in 7th, Ahmed Kuti made his way up to 8th place. That's impressive. Krishna Turu with 9th place, Najib Ahmed in 10th, and Chetan Suneni now in 11th place. Aditya, 45-minute race.
I can't believe it ended the way it ended. I'm breathless. I have nothing to say. I'm speechless.
We did not see that coming at all. We never saw that coming. We did not see these guys. We did not think that he'd have fuel problems right at the end of it. Of all things, he did not put a foot wrong all race, and some insane racing. And Mohammad Ibrahim on the last lap, who is going to be dropped all the way down to 9th place. That's why it looks like he's finished finally on the race results table. So Advait Deodar then, Aditya now takes race number 1 takes the win for race number 1. So with Sebastian in second place, but these guys now under investigation of the stewards. I wonder what will happen. But provisional, superb race from the first one that we've had.
Oh, what a race. There was just action right through, up and down all the time. I know some drivers are not really happy with what happened, but oh my God, it's given us some solid entertainment here.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes race number 1, where Advait Deodar now takes provisional first place, Sebastian Burnett in second, and Arjun Maini in third place. These guys, there were 11 teams, 22 drivers. Each one of these guys had to do a driver change. So these guys, the Hammer Time Racing with Advait Deodar, the teammates of Advait Deodar and Rohan Shankar finish in first place. Sebastian Burnett and Ronnie Weschelberger in second place. Arjun Maini and Tejasvi Shetty in third place. Sahil Sanjay and Dushyant in fourth, and Sol Shah and Lee Keshav in fifth. So these guys with their teammates now finishing as they stand provisionally. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps up the first race we have of the All-Star Virtual League Enduro Series V8 Supercar Holdings. We will be back tomorrow at the same time at 7 o'clock to race the exact same cars on the endurance circuit. If we had any race, or we had any, if it was like anything to do with today, we're in for an absolute cracker tomorrow, and that will be followed by the boys with the Formula One cars. So we've got super exciting racing lined up all of Sunday in our UltimateE Sunday, and we can't wait to watch, and we can't wait to have you join us there tomorrow. From Aditya and myself, Anjan, thank you for joining us this evening. Good evening and good night.